Welcome to another episode of the Rise and Grind on the BertaProudDad Show with my host, Melodocious 33. Today, we're talking internet censorship and the aid bill to Ukraine that could have Speaker Mike Johnson ousted from the speaker chair. So let's get into it. What is happening this morning, Mel? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing this morning?
Well, it's a beautiful, windy, snowy day on April 17th, and it's a little bit nuts out there, I'll tell you that.
Well, I'll send you some of this because we're going to get up to 80 degrees again today with sunshine. So I'll send some of that up there.
80 degrees, take away the 17. I don't know how to do that mathematical calculation. You Americans are crazy with your system. At the end of the day, I'll take it as that is good weather. And
really warm.
Yeah, it's nothing like what we got going on, but you guys got some other things going on in America. That reminded me of that Team America cartoon there or whatever with the puppets. America, fuck yeah. Anyway, let's the Speaker Johnson. Let's talk about that aid package. AP came out with a news article yesterday. This is out of Washington. Determined House Speaker Mike Johnson pushed back Tuesday against mounting Republican anger over his proposed U.S. aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and other allies, and rejected a call to step aside or risk a vote to oust him from office. I got a quick video clip there, Mel. Let's take a look at this.
What is your response to Republicans who say this move should cost you your job and that if you don't resign, they will try to oust you?
I am not resigning, and it is, in my view, an absurd notion that someone would bring a vacate motion when we are simply here trying to do our jobs. It is not helpful to the cause. It is not helpful to the country. It does not help the House Republicans advance our agenda, which is in the best interest of the American people here: a secure border, sound governance, and it's not helpful to the unity that we have in the body. Look, we are in unprecedented times. Okay. We're in dangerous times, as has been articulated here, around the world, and here at home. We need steady leadership. We need steady hands at the wheel. Look, I regard myself as a wartime speaker. I mean, in a literal sense, we are. I knew that when I took the gavel. I didn't anticipate that this would be an easy path. We're gonna work this out today, and we'll have a lot more comment for you today, for you later. But I'm going to tell you that I am not concerned about this. I am going to do my job, and I think that's what the American people expect of us. Thanks so much.
Wow. Well, you know what boggles my mind, Mel? So they have this package for Ukraine and Israel, and we all know that they've been funneling money over there, laundering money. Ukraine's one of the most corrupt countries on the planet. Right. I guess my question is, why are they putting a border security package in with a Ukraine Israel package?
My opinion about it is, I mean, they think that's probably the only way they're going to get any more aid to Ukraine. I think everyone's getting sick of it. Everyone's like, we're done. We don't need to be sending anything else over there. So they're putting all this added pork in the back of these bills. And then they're blaming Republicans. They're saying, oh, well, Republicans won't pass the aid bill. There's a reason for it. They don't want to pass all the trans shit that's in the bill. They don't want to pass all the other stuff like, you know, I mean, all this money is being allocated for all kinds of BS pork that has nothing to do with our border, needs its own separate bill from every other country to secure our borders, period. This is just insane that they keep just shoving this with a whole bunch of extra shit that stop. I guarantee Republicans would pass. They'd agree to it if it was only border in the border bill.
Like, this is just what I don't really particularly understand. Like, this is politics 101, right? So what's happening is they are being political with finances, with taxpayers' money, and they're trying to push everything in. And no matter what government you're from, they always try doing this, whether you're in Canada, the United States, even Mexico, and Europe. This is very famous, where they put other things into bills in order to, leverage a certain topic or something that they want to get done. And that's not true democracy. And all the red tape and the backyard deals, the backroom deals over cognac and cigars, like, this is fucking bullshit at this point. There is no democracy left. Americans are famous for calling themselves a constitutional republic because that's what they are, and it's a great system to have. Except the electoral college is fucked, but it's a great system to have. Except when you have a president or an administration or even Congress or the Senate that don't follow the Constitution in the constitutional republic, um, you're left with garbage. You're left with this kindergarten-like bullshit that happens on Capitol Hill day after day after day. So, what's your opinion? Should the speaker be ousted from the chair?
There were certain points that he made an agreement with as him becoming speaker. You're going to agree to do these certain things for the party, for all of us. You're going to, and he's not following up with anything that he said he was going to do. I know that Marjorie Taylor Greene is talking about, possibly trying to do something about that. I think she has one other senator, I can't remember, on board with that idea. But they keep trying to tell us, oh, Ukraine needs more aid. And every time you turn on the TV and it has to do with our national security, our border issues, any of that, Ukraine is mentioned every single time. And I'm over it. Ukraine has nothing to do with our southern border at all. And we need to put something in place for our border to protect our country. Our sovereignty is at risk. This administration is extremely treasonous. They're seditious. They're allowing people to come into our country. They're inviting them. They're paying them money. They're putting them up in housing, kicking veterans out of places to put homeless migrants instead of in it. What world are we living in when this is okay? I just don't get it at all.
You mentioned Marjorie Taylor Greene in there. Marjorie Taylor Greene is on fire, and it's funny how they demonize. They absolutely demonize the people who speak out against the government, and they think outside the box. And Marjorie Taylor Greene comes out and she's chastising. She's the one that said, say her name, Laken Riley, to Joe Biden, during the State of the Union, and they just demonize her every step of the way. And it's no different when it comes down to online content creators. Online content creators, we face, this show is censored on many platforms. We face that every single day. And if you're a content consumer out there, this might not frustrate you at all, because guess what? If you're just consuming content and not creating content, God bless you. I love you because you're consuming our content, but you don't actually see behind the scenes what kind of censorship we put up with. And we're going to move that into that in our next segment. But before that, we're going to hear from our sponsor.
What's going on? Just hanging out. Now imagine yourself. I want you to imagine this, okay? You pissed your wife off. You had too many beers. You're at the bar. Your buddies are with you. You're going back to the garage to have some more beers. She's got to come pick you up. There's room in the back of this Jeep for just that. Yeah, she's going to be pissed, but she's going to be pissed for what? 1, maybe 2 days? Remember, memories with the boys last forever. Come see Banks at Strathmore Dodge. She'll sell your wife one, and maybe you already pissed her off, and that'll make her happy.
Could you imagine that I got a comment on Instagram and I got one comment on Spotify about us having a sponsor on the show, and they called us a sellout for that?
Sell out when someone's sponsoring you for your content and helping you build up your brand and your audience, and that's all a sponsor is. That's not selling out. You're not doing selling out is doing what someone else tells you to do, which
Absolutely.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah, and it's funny, and I don't want to get into super details, but Banks would be okay with me talking about this. So Banks at Strathmore Dodge, ladies and gentlemen, sponsors the show. And the only reason, that I'm working with her, to be honest with you, is she literally lives 3 doors down from me. And I know wholeheartedly that she shares the same values and beliefs as we do here on the show. And she's a patriot. And here on the BertaProudDad Show, we appreciate patriots and freedom fighters. And if you're out there, trying to make a living, because in these hard times, everybody has to, of course, if you're going to help me, I'm going to help you. Right. And people that come on and say, oh, you're a sellout, I chalk it up as this. You are literally 100% jealous that I managed to get a sponsor on the show and you've probably tried a podcast or tried creating content or tried doing something like that and failed miserably at it because you became impatient. And at the end of the day, for anybody out there that's looking at doing a podcast, doing a show, I went a year and a half without having a sponsor. I did this, without a sponsor. I spent thousands of dollars of my own money, to get to a point where you have a sponsor. It's absolutely amazing. And I don't look at it as I'm charging for services. I look at it as I'm helping a fellow patriot. So if you're a company out there looking to sponsor the show, sponsor the content, we'll gladly work with you. But if you're a beta cuck that's going to tell us how to do our content or what topics we can talk on, we're not going to work with you at all.
No, that's what a sellout is. A sellout is someone who compromises their own beliefs and their own way of doing things to fit in a mold that somebody wants them to fit into. And that's not what we're about. You and I are very outspoken. We believe what we believe, and we're going to continue to speak the truth and speak what we believe. And if somebody wants to join in, like my husband and I run a business from home, just like, we are, we need to support each other, instead of supporting these massive corporations that are owned by BlackRock, Vanguard, the puppets that pull all the strings. They have all the money. They're the ones that manipulate the markets. I mean, so if we start buying from each other, we can eliminate the big guy in certain aspects of our lives, and it might help.
Absolutely. I just got connected with a company as well that is a very patriotic freedom company, and slowly but surely, Leslie and I, that's my wife, for those who don't know, are changing our products up to only buy from this one online boutique store. So if anybody wants any information on that, they can get a hold of me in my DMs or BertaProudDad@gmail.com. We're going to move into internet censorship, Mel. But first, because of this segment, let's give people out there a little opportunity. And if they want to work with us, we would love to work with them.
The Berta Proud Dad Show is actively looking for patriotic and freedom fighter sponsors. If you are looking to take your business to the next level and get at your target market with over 3 million impressions on Instagram alone per month, get a hold of me, BertaProudDad@gmail.com.
So it's no secret. It used to be back in the day, Mel, that, social media companies would say, oh no, we don't shadow ban. We don't censor content. And I think everybody's heart was in the right place when they started social media. I think, it was a way for us to connect with our loved ones, show pictures of birthdays, anniversaries, whatever else. But it's become this tool now where we can get information out at mass levels. For this show, for instance, we're talking to 13,333 people. That's a lot of threes. I just checked the analytics this morning. Last month, that is how many people we spoke to just last month alone. And that's just on one thing on Spotify. I haven't checked Apple or any of that. So we can talk to that many people with our opinion. And the fact that they want to censor that, the fact that they want to take our free speech out of that, I just made a comment on one of my videos in regards to this, is it is their sandbox. So it is legal for them to censor us because it's private, but I don't think it's ethical.
No, it isn't. And, you and I both have dealt with all kinds of censorship. I know, especially over the last few years. And a lot of the things that I was censored for or banned for off of platforms are now medically being told to the world that, yes, this is going on. This did happen because of X, Y, and Z. And it's just information that I was trying to get out to people. And that's the reason that I was censored, was for telling the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing, is we get censored. Not a day goes by on TikTok where I don't get a community guidelines violation. Not a day goes by where I can absolutely tell wholeheartedly that I have an issue going on with my account on Instagram. For instance, I want to bring people into that. So, for those listening at home, you're not going to see the visual, but I'll explain it to you. This right here is my Berta Proud Dad account on Instagram. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's what a censored social media platform looks like. So you can see I have 43,362 followers. And on that, I have 0.4% increase in followers since March 17th. That's 1 month ago. My overall followers were 213. I had 857 people follow me, and 644 people unfollow that account. And if you look at the graph, you can see, and there's valleys and peaks, right? Valleys and peaks. So whenever a video goes viral and they see that I'm starting to get a following, Instagram puts in their algorithm that's controlled by AI, they put me into a censorship and they dip me down and auto unfollow people who have followed me. That right there, ladies and gentlemen, is censorship. That is what they do. They do it automatically. They don't want you to get internet famous. They don't want you to have any reach. They don't want you to be an influencer. And this isn't because Instagram wants to do it. This is because Instagram is told to do it.
Oh yeah, they're told by the, by like the Google Play Store or, whatever app store they're posting their app on, you have to follow these protocols or your app won't be allowed to be in their app store, and it's really sad in my opinion, because you see all of this hate and all of this hate speech and all of this divisive shit is pushed constantly. But then when you have some patriots trying to tell the truth about corruption, about things going on in our government, about election interference, all this type of stuff, we're censored constantly.
We're censored all the time, and it's normal. And you mentioned the Google Play Store and the App Store. They're paid. They're paid to censor, and it's very easy. It's just a trickle down effect. The government goes to Google and says, "Hey, Google, you're going to do this to the applications on your platform. Show us your community guidelines for applications on there." There's a reason why OnlyFans, you can't get it on a Play Store or an App Store, right? And then they basically say, "Okay, all right, this isn't not what we like. So in order to keep TikTok on your platform, you better go over to TikTok and explain to them that they have to do X, Y, and Z. And in order to have Instagram, you better go and explain to them that they got to do X, Y, and Z." And this is how it works. It's not individually the social media platform. It's the big wigs upstairs, the elitists, the ones that don't want us talking, that actually control the narrative. And we have zero freedom of speech online. And like I said earlier, yes, it is legal because it's their platforms, but it's not ethical. And it's coming out. There is proof of this, ladies and gentlemen. I want to play this proof of censoring conservatives video for you.
Congressman, sorry to ask the selfish question first, but I feel my privacy has already been invaded. It's why I've not had an email account for years and years and years, because, it seems like, the government's perfectly fine releasing my private text messages with Paul Manafort, my private text messages with people that work for the government, my private text messages on January 6th. So I don't really have privacy. How are they they were censoring me? Our government was involved in this. Do I have any recourse for this? Legal recourse?
We've introduced legislation, Senator Paul and I, that would give you some recourse and would hold these people accountable. So that's the legislative remedy that we're pursuing. But here's the real takeaway. The censorship industrial complex was bigger than we thought. It wasn't just big government working with big tech to limit your speech and limit Twitter or tweets and post on Facebook. It was big government, big universities, and big tech all working together to limit speech. And it was disproportionately, as you listed off all those conservatives, disproportionately targeting conservatives. Molly Hemingway, Sean Hannity, President Trump, members of Congress. You can go down the list. That's who they went after. And here's the kicker. It was all true stuff. Or some cases it was satire. It was a joke. But it was all true. And yet they went after it in this organized fashion where they limited how the reach it would have, the visibility filtering they did, and they took things down. That's how egregious this was.
All right.
It's not even a lie anymore, man.
No, I mean, it's really bad. It really is. It's like you can talk about almost anything that has to do with something truthful, especially when it's new, when it hasn't been released by mainstream media, and you start talking about that, then they want to dismiss it as misinformation, or they want to say that you're passing conspiracy theories. And then you see 8 to 12 months later, it comes out and mainstream news is like, "Hey guys, guess what?" And we're going, "This is what I talked about, and you guys banned my account for it."
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous the things that they do to censor us on a day-to-day basis. And you can't even call this misinformation anymore. This stuff is now hitting the Senates, it's hitting Congress, it's hitting parliaments all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. You know, social media companies have been hauled in before Congress, and Mark Zuckerberg was faced with a challenge, and he had to actually admit to Congress that fact checks are purely and strictly opinion. So if your fact checker is a beta cuck liberal out there and you said something that you believe in, just say Christian values and beliefs, where you believe in God created us all equally, and he created us perfect in his image, and you know you shouldn't change your gender. If you say something like that, and your fact checker disagrees with you, they automatically say that's misinformation or disinformation, and you can get a community guidelines violation. That's not freedom of speech. That's censorship, and purely censorship.
And the fact checkers, I mean, what did they go to fact checkology school? Do they have a degree in fact checkology? Because none of these people have any formal degrees. They're just people that they hire, these liberals that get on there and like, I don't like that. We're going to take that down. That's misinformation. Seriously? It's not misinformation just because you haven't heard about it. It's not conspiracy theory just because you haven't heard of it. A lot of us dig really deep into stuff that the mainstream does not look at or doesn't even bother to dig into. And then we want to put it out there so people see it. And then they're constantly dismissing it, saying it's conspiracy, it's misinformation. They ban our accounts. And people don't understand. I mean, this happens every single day to so many patriots all across United States, Canada, like the world. People are trying to speak out and trying to tell you the real news, and we're being stopped left and right non-stop. I mean, this is a constant information war.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it just boggles my mind, you know. And so, for instance, conservatives being censored, right? We come out, we talk about it. Most of the time, that's being censored. Okay, liberals. So if conservatives are in power and liberals are being censored, they would expect the same thing. They would be doing the exact same thing we are. But then they're sitting here chastising us right now for doing exactly that, calling out the censorship of our content. You know, content is important, ladies and gentlemen, and we're not robots. We aren't robots. So when we put a piece of content out there, go do your own research. Go look at it. Critically think a little bit. If we had people that could actually do that, we don't even have to be talking about misinformation, disinformation. Like those are buzzwords. That's all that is buzzwords. Like we didn't hear about misinformation or disinformation pre-COVID. Like this is how new this stuff is because they knew in order to get all these people jabbed that we fucked up that plan. We fucked up that plan for some people, and they didn't get everybody jabbed. And how I know that is you had 70 to 75% of North America's population went and got the first and second dose, and then numbers started to plummet. They started to plummet after that because people were coming out and doing their own research and asking you to do it and get you to critically think. And next thing you know, it was like 10, 12, 13% are getting boosters. And now that number is even lower, I believe.
Yeah, well, and that's what we were trying to do in the beginning too, is we were just telling people, hey, hold off. Wait on this whole vaccine. It's new. It's got some new components to it. Let's wait and see what these, experimental tests that they're going to do on it. They didn't even do that because they used the Emergency Use Authorization Act in order to push it out there. And that also protects Big Pharma from anyone suing if they get vaccine injuries. And they knew. That's what really I don't understand, is because Pfizer knew when they released those documents, they tried to keep that from being released to the public for 75 years. And when they were forced to release it, people are still lining up, getting those boosters of the latest and greatest variants. And they're also now adding it to the flu vaccine. And they're like promoting it. Oh, get your flu vaccine and you can get your COVID booster. Are you kidding me? I mean, whatever happened to the monkeypox crap that they were pushing? You haven't heard anything about that since they got a bunch of people to line up for that one.
Yeah, well, 100%. People are sheep, right? And literally during COVID, the government were able to get statistical analysis on how many people would line up and do what they were told. And now they have that statistical analysis, and Tucker Carlson came up with a censorship video as well, and we're gonna watch that right now.
Fact of the United States is freedom of speech. To the extent this country is actually exceptional, it's because we have the First Amendment to the Bill of Rights. We have freedom of conscience. We can say what we really think. There's no hate speech exception to that. Just because you hate what somebody else thinks, you cannot force that person to be quiet, because we're citizens, not slaves. But that right, that foundational right that makes this country what it is, that right from which all other rights flow, is going away at high speed in the face of censorship. Now, modern censorship bears no resemblance to previous censorship regimes in previous countries in previous eras. Our censorship is affected on the basis of fights against disinformation and malinformation. And the key thing to know about these is they're everywhere. And of course, they have no reference at all to whether what you're saying is true or not. In other words, you can say something that is factually accurate and consistent with your own conscience. And in previous versions of America, you had an absolute right to say those things. But because someone doesn't like them, or because they're inconvenient to whatever plan the people in power have, they can be denounced as disinformation, and you could be stripped of your right to express them.
And that goes right back to what we were discussing. If you get some liberal-minded individual with an underwater basket weaving degree, and he doesn't like what you're talking about, he's going to take that fucking content down. And you know what? You've given him this God complex where he probably sits there at his fucking, I don't know, lawn bowling tournament and tells all the people, how he censored 1,000 people this week and he has all the power. And that's what these people are. They're literal narcissists with a God complex that don't like that you're successful on social media, so they take your voice away. Like, that is some fucking cuckish mentality, if I've ever seen any.
Well, yeah, it's ridiculous. And like, I was found this back in 1996. The United States put in a Telecommunications Act of 1996. And part of that was the Communications Decency Act. And it was Congress's first attempt to regulate pornographic material on the internet. Well, they made it a crime to use any telecommunications device to send or receive obscene or indecent material. The CDA also created a safe harbor for internet service providers, shielding them from liability for user-generated content.
Yeah.
So they put this in place, but they protect the platforms. And I don't know about you, but I know a lot of platforms have gotten extremely pornographic these last several years.
Yeah, 100%. We went to an app called Clapper, and I used to actually do a lot of promotional content for free for Clapper because I feel that it's the most uncensored application on the internet. But Clapper likes to promote itself as an adults only app, but they actually allow 17-year-olds on the app. And what's been happening lately over on that app is a lot of sexual content has been going down. I wouldn't want my 14-year-old daughter on the app. That's why it's 17. But even at 17 or 18, I wouldn't want her on that application either. And, they're using people like myself and yourself to be, come get uncensored, unfiltered content politically. And, we're not going to censor their political content. But while you're at it, we're going to throw you ads for sex. We're going to put cam girls in your face. And there's people out there with literal sex addictions that are relapsing right now because apps like Clapper are honing them in, bringing them in by, political content or funny videos, and then throwing sex at them, all for the almighty dollar. It's absolutely disgusting.
It is disgusting. And the fact of the app, like Clapper, we've been on that app for a while, and, it was okay. But now it seems like in the last 6 months, I'd say, the pornographic crap is pushed a lot more. And I didn't realize to the extent until I had some people send me screenshots and videos of not only over on Clapper what they're promoting during commercials during the games they just did an upgrade to add, but they're also promoting. I mean, you can go on their Instagram, and I had a friend take a screenshot I showed you, and it's literally nothing but asses in thongs and boobs all over every single picture of Clapper's Instagram.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal. And Clapper is one of the only social media outlets that I know of now that you don't pay for blue check verification. And I'm blue check verified on Clapper. And when I got my blue check, I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And you got to prove a bunch of things, like you have a podcast and all this other stuff, like in order to get blue check verified. And they did that. But there's this big blue check verified club over there who thinks that their shit don't stink. And so they promote the shit out of Clapper. And what Clapper actually does is they're using these larger creators. Like I think I'm at 150,000 followers over there. They're using people, or trying to use people in order to push this agenda. I stopped completely supporting Clapper in that, because guess what? I don't want somebody to go over there with a sex addiction or something like that and then relapse on that because they're pushing them sexual content. My value and belief system doesn't allow the same values and beliefs that Clapper has. So I will stop promoting Clapper. If you're on Clapper now, you know, freedom of choice, right? But I might just blow up my account over there. I'm not too worried about a blue check verification or how many followers I have over there. I have values and beliefs and ethics, and Clapper is going against every single one of them right now, and it's absolutely disgusting. And it is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I didn't know about all that when I first went over there. I remember I was scrolling lives and I didn't know about the not safe for work, filter, because I was seeing some raunchy shit in the lives and I was like, whoa, I needed to wash my eyes out with some acid after some of the shit I came across, and luckily one of the bigger creators who'd been there a while, she's like, oh, there's a little switch. Well, my question is, why is that switch not on and you can go turn it off when you join, instead of it being on for everyone? Not only that, is they do no verification for age. So they say they're a 17 and older adult app, but you're not required to show any form of ID that shows you're of the legal required age to start an account. So you've got God knows who, children possibly watching. I've had friends who had their child create an account that they monitored just to see how long it's been up. It's been up over a year, and it's a 14-year-old child's account.
I know I'm going to do some videos on Clapper, bringing awareness to it. They'll probably ban my account, but you guys will know about that. Anyway, Mel, this is a great show. Thanks for being here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys have a wonderful day. Make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We do this Monday to Friday every single day.